Okay, this is part 2 of making soap, and I'm going to set my flour mold aside. You can see that I have cut out 2 rows of the white soap base. I'm going to make smiley faces and peace signs, like I said. Now what you see here is an old cutting board that I use for art, making crayons, making soap, things like that. And you're going to need a board of some kind to just give the mold a little bit more support. This is a rigid plastic. Now normally the same as when making candles, and because this is almost an inch deep, these are going to be, I think, a half an ounce, and the little flowers are a quarter of an ounce. So you may want to think about that before you buy your molds, how big of a bar you want. I also have a mold that's a really big bar that is like a 2-ounce bar. So think of that. But with candles or with soap, somewhere along the line in your shopping, somebody will recommend that you need a mold release. And it does help, I guess. I've been trying to buy Pam spray or vegetable spray, and they seem to be sold out of that. And it's not really necessary. What I did, and I'm going to show you in a minute, was I took the 2 long bars, sections of soap, and I've been melting it in the double boiler. And I feel like making green life happy things. So I don't drink green tea. I like black tea or chamomile. So somebody had given me a bunch of green tea. So to those 2 bars, I added 1 tea bag full of green tea, and I added about 6.6 cc's, I think. Let me look at this thing. That much pine oil. And this is an essential oil, pine oil. It's really for aromatherapy. You can use a lot of different things. And what that does is add color, a scent, and just a tiny bit of texture to the soap. So now I have a pot holder here. I'm going to grab the soap, and as I said, you need a board. If you have mold release, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. I'm going to fill these about 3/4 full, because once I'm done, I'm going to pop this whole thing, including the board, into the refrigerator and leave it there for a couple hours. And what happens is, as the soap cools and then gets cold, it shrinks away from the mold and it's much easier to release. So let me just grab the pan. Now you'll see that, well, the pine oil is making kind of a, I don't want to say skin, but it's kind of like a skin at the top. And the tea bags, the tea bag, I'm trying to do this without having a 6-foot-long arms. You just have to stir it up before you pour it. Now this became yellowish because of the pine oil. And be careful if you have children doing this. This is not edible. It looks like soup or something wonderful, but it's not edible. And then you just take your and this is very hot, so again, if you have kids doing this, you need an adult to supervise. So I'm going to get more than 4 of these out of those 2 sections of soap. There's quite a bit left, probably for 2 more bars. So I'm going to let that set for just a few minutes, and then it's going to go into the refrigerator, like I said, and in a couple of hours I'll be able to pop those out, remelt what's left over, and pour some more. And like I said, the beauty of this, you should probably keep them separate. Like if I make pink rose soap, I don't necessarily want to mix that with the pine soap. But when these wear down a little bit, or, you know, to a sliver, I can throw them back in the pot, melt them down, and keep it going, which is not something you can do with commercial soap. It's fun to do.